Chris. He's the only one.
I'm right here.
I'm sorry?
Oh, my video's off, that's why.
Okay.
Had two young kids left, 9 and 5, and they'll have a little extra money to, do some things if they want, some time. For this long, they're still borrowing 95% of the and so.
Oh, Chris, I see you on. Would you like to share your screen? Just to make sure it works?
Sure. Can you hear me?
Yes, and welcome.
Okay, thank you. Let's see. This should work. Do you see my screen?
Yep.
Okay, good.
Okay, I think we have a majority of folks here. All the presenters are here, and if anyone trickles in, we'll welcome them. All right, everyone, shall we get started? Okay, I guess I have to share my screen. I've been asking everybody else to share theirs. Okay. Are you able to see the screen?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you.
Are we recording right now, Vita?
Yeah, I'm recording.
Okay.
Yeah, we normally record all our events, and then just because there's a lot of folks who aren't able to join just because of the time differences and so forth. So thank you. All right, welcome everyone, and thanks for joining us today. Today is our live virtual event where we are wrapping up this exciting project that we've been working on in partnership with Vera, Aqua, Vera, Vita. And thank you everyone for joining, and for all our volunteers who graciously donated your time and skills to support a great cause. Just want to walk you through the agenda today. I'll just give a brief overview of this for social good, and then hand it over to Jacob, who will talk about the story of Vera, Aqua, Vera, Vita, and then get into the main part of the event, which is our volunteer presentations, followed by the announcement of the top vizzes, and then we'll close. So we really should be able to wrap this up within the hour. And our volunteers today who are presenting will be listed here. Each volunteer, when it's their turn, they'll introduce themselves and share their screen and their vizzes. About 3 minutes each, and there'll be some questions as well. Jacob and team and have some questions and comments for many of the vizzes. Okay, so I want to talk to you a little bit about this for social good, and my personal journey as well, and how I became associated with this for social good. But essentially their mission is clear, right? Really helping other mission-driven organizations to promote social good, help change the world, and all through the power of data and analytics, and really being able to tell compelling stories through data visualization. It's been amazing to see what the volunteers have done. The exact same data set, and how every volunteer has a different view of the data and a different story to tell. And it's kudos to the volunteers, as well as the tools that they all use to create these visualizations. It's just been an amazing experience for me. And where it all started was with this young lady here, Chloe Zhang. She was at the time an analyst at Twitter and a Tableau Zen master. She was at a Tableau conference and stood up to present, but then really talked about, hey, how can we help change the world through data visualizations? And so she just started something small, a community-based organization called This for Social Good. And it just took off like crazy. So many people were engaged, and organizations offered their data set. And she started just, it was a one-man show, just starting with projects and helping out charities, and slowly grew. I happened to be at a Tableau conference a few years ago. This was in New Orleans. And I was like, oh, what is this? This for Social Good. So I attended the session. I walked into a room. It was one of the bigger halls. And there was like hundreds of people there who all showed up with their laptops and just wanting to support a cause. And the charity at the time was the Kevin Richard Foundation, whose mission is to protect lions in Africa. And it just blew me away because everyone was there, you know, working with Tableau and the data set, just trying to create visuals. And, you know, some of the volunteers got onto the stage to present. And I left the conference feeling very inspired. So I reached out to Chloe and I said, hey, I'd love to set something up in Toronto, set up the Toronto chapter, but also, you know, encourage Chloe to have a broader team. And so she set up a board that I and many of us on this call got involved with, Keith, Frederick. We have chapter leaders as well on the call. And it's just been an amazing experience because we've been able to give back our skills. And I've been able to see so many different causes around the world that I was not even aware of, and talk to charities who have, you know, focus on supporting our society. And we've partnered with many nonprofit organizations throughout the years. Some of them you'll recognize, you know, big name charitable organizations like the United Nations Development Group, UNDP, and so forth. But we've also worked with really small organizations who, some of them hadn't even heard about what data visualization was. One example is, you know, in the top left, Academics Without Borders. It's a Canadian-based organization. And I just connected with them through a friend. And when I explained to them what data visualization was and the power of it, they were just blown away, because I think they only thought about data visualization as, you know, infographics that would show up in an annual report. So they quickly, you know, got on board to do a project. Similarly, so many of the organizations, and also ended up talking to Jacob from Vera, Aqua, Vera, Vita last year, just about possible opportunities to partner together. So you can see we support many, many causes and work with charities all around the world as well, and all types of charities, some that are starting out on their data journey and some that are very mature and just looking to help us, help them, you know, take their data visualization to the next level. These are just some examples of ones that we've done in the past. Could probably sit here and show you hundreds of visuals, just amazing creativity. And the beauty of it is we have volunteers who have all different skill sets. I know many of you are first-time volunteers, which is great, and thank you and welcome. And also volunteers who have worked on many projects with us. And, you know, it's great first-time volunteers, you know, creating visuals. We have folks that have been using the tool. We have folks that do this for their day job, but then, you know, are willing to lend their skills to a charity. So it's just all kinds of skill sets. It's really amazing to see. Just another example, Asia Central Institute, Peace Through Education. And Chloe's work was actually, Viz for Social Good was recognized a few years ago. We were invited to present at the United Nations General Assembly. So these are some of the Viz's that were presented from Viz for Social Good. So great accomplishments as well by Chloe. And lastly, you know, it's easy to get involved. You don't necessarily have to be a great data visualizer. You know, there's just ways of supporting. So you can sign up as a volunteer, follow us on Twitter, just get the pulse, as well as LinkedIn. And, you know, if any of you have any contacts as well with charities, just pass, you know, our name along. We'd be happy to connect with them as well and see if any way we can help. And Jacob, I'm going to stop sharing my screen and then hand it over to you.
Excellent, thank you. It says you cannot share while someone else is presenting, so maybe I need to wait another second to click that button.
Is it, are you able to share? I've stopped, so I think it should be fine.
Bit of a lag. Okay. Can everyone hear me well enough?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for the confirmation. I always have to check that. So realize I only have about 10 minutes is what Vanita told me to kind of introduce you all to Vera, Vera, Vita. of the having spent a lot of time, I can tell, on our website and other platforms that we've communicated with via Slack and emails. So hopefully a lot of this is nothing new. And I know a lot of the team members that are also from our Aqua Vita team here are on this call. But just to kind of give a little, hopefully more flesh, so to speak, to who we are as an organization. Of course, if it's not already clear, if you're not already aware, Aqua Vita is Latin for true water, true life. And we believe that together we can give true water, true life. And actually, at this point in time, I want to just give a big shout out to all of the volunteers that prepared visualizations for our work, telling the story of the global water crisis. The importance of what we're doing in Peru is needed in Peru to make a lasting change in the water crisis issues that they are facing. And so I just want to just really quickly acknowledge each and every one of you. I really appreciate your time and what you've provided has just been abundantly rich information that we will benefit from for years to come in our work. So thank you so much. Better, right? So hopefully everyone can see this video. This is just kind of the 90-second overview of who we are as Aqua Vita. I believe I'm sharing my audio. Please let me know if I am not, and I'll play this video right now. Please let me know if you can't hear it.
Water is essential to life. Nearly 1 billion people around the world live each day without access to clean drinking water, severely limiting their capacity to thrive as God. The disparity is becoming even more dramatic. Alcira is one of these people.
Oh, let it stop. There we go.
Who lives each day without this essential resource. She has to travel a long distance to acquire water for her family. This means she is not able to attend school and obtain an education. The water Alcira can access is also contaminated, which exposes her to a myriad of waterborne illnesses such as typhoid, cholera, and parasites. Access to clean water would change Alcira's life. She would have time to attend school and further her education. Eventually, she could earn an income and potentially leave her poverty behind. Clean water would improve her health and life expectancy by reducing her overall exposure to illness. By supporting our mission at Vera Aqua, Vera Vita to empower communities in developing countries to generate clean water and sanitation solutions, you can change a life. Children like Alcira can be kids again with access to clean water and proper hygiene and sanitation services, helping them to flow from simply surviving to ultimately thriving. A gift of $50 per month will provide clean drinking water to 12 people across the world every year. Partner with us today to provide true water, true life. Get involved at givetruewater.org.
Oh, I don't want to play that again. So a couple of slides I want to hit on here. One, the reality of the global water crisis is immense, but there are really two key issues that are being faced within the global water crisis itself. The problem, the why that we exist as an organization of Aqua Vita comes down to these two key problems. One, water contamination. From diseases varied in many, but here's just a few examples: giardia, hepatitis, diarrhea, cholera, typhoid, and all the symptoms that those cause, simply because people are drinking contaminated water. So I usually do this statistical fact sharing that I'm going to share over the next two slides in kind of a unique way. But because I know many of you all as visualizers and of the mission of Aqua Vita either are on our team or have looked so much into our information that you know all about what's going on with the global water crisis. So I'm just gonna skip through these real quick. You can read them at your own leisure, but a lot of these were shared with you all. But these are, once again, further reasons why we do what we do. I will touch on one of them. It's this one right here. And this one, actually two of them. 443 million school days are lost each year due to water-related diseases. And $260 billion is lost globally each year due to lack of adequate water supply and sanitation. This is in large part due to the amount of time. So that's really the second challenge that people are facing in developing countries. The second problem with the water crisis, the global water crisis, is how much time it takes to go and get water for some of these people in some of these communities. So of course, our mission at Vera Aqua Vera Vita is to tap into the physical and spiritual nature of water to empower people and communities in developing countries to generate clean water and sanitation solutions that bring true water, true life. So we're different in what matters in really two key ways. We empower people and we have a holistic approach. Empowering for us means acknowledging the dignity of the person, giving them a hand up, not a hand out, teaching them how to fish, not just giving them fish. It's that investment in the person. It's the equipping of the person with the tools, knowledge, and resources that they need to be the drivers of their future solutions. Hence, going back to our mission statement, right? Empower people and communities in developing countries to generate clean water and sanitation solutions. We want to be that influencer in those lives so that we can bring sustainability. And we have a holistic approach. We're incarnate in our approach in body and soul. We are a faith-based organization rooted in Christian Catholic principles. And that permeates every aspect of our work and what we do and how we approach what we do. We also really hone in on this idea of what's called the triple bottom line, this idea of the person or the social aspect, the environment, and the economic or financial aspect all being held in balance when any solution or any approach to a problem is considered. If we can hold those as best as we can in balance, we believe that we can come up with the best solutions. And then we have the Catholic social teaching kind of as our guiding principle for the way we approach our interaction with people. We focus on solidarity, so walking with them, that's that kind of that empowerment to bring about the end goal of teaching them how to fish, so to speak. But then we also ultimately hope that they will then become the owners of that solution, subsidiarity. And this is a little bit more about those two topics, solidarity and subsidiarity. I'll skip over that. We're inspired by scripture. I'll skip over that as well because there's a lot we could dive into there, but for the sake of time. These are our three programs: WASH, education, and missionary work. WASH is obviously this big catch-all term, water, sanitation, and hygiene. And we focus on that at the community level. So we're not one of these organizations that comes in and tries to fix an entire municipal region. We focus on a community-to-community basis. And it's that grassroots approach that we believe is the change needed to bring sustainable change, not only in that community, but to set a trajectory for the future with the region and other communities in that region. And hopefully that country eventually will get to see the impact of a really grassroots level of the impact on a community. There's a little bit more about the WASH community development. Here's a little bit about our education program. Water and sanitation, hygiene, and theology of the body are kind of the two big elements of our education. That's where we're bringing in that physical and spiritual, the body and soul of the person into our approach. And then finally, we offer mission trips through the corporal works of mercy that we want to provide to people to come and serve with us to do clean water and improve sanitation solution project implementation, to implement an education workshop, to walk with these people in solidarity, empowering them by introducing them to lasting things lasting things that they can do in their community, and also the living water of Jesus Christ. And finally, I'll end with this slide, and then I'm going to kick it over to the map real quick. But we have the Peru water crisis. On top of the global water crisis, we want to hone in, and a lot of what we've seen in the awesome visualizations that you all have prepared have honed in on what's going on in Peru, which is amazing, and specifically more into the region of Piura, which is where we are currently working. But as of right now in the Peru water crisis, there's a situation where only 75%, so 25% of communities don't have a basic, simple, unmanaged drinking water service or better. 56% of rural communities only have basic sanitation facilities. So we're talking a toilet or a latrine, things like that. 12% of children under the age of 5 are experiencing chronic diarrhea due to waterborne diseases. So this is why we do what we do. And this is, for us as an organization, it's fundamental that we can tell, that we are able to tell our story to our donors, to our supporters, but also that we can understand the data, understand the need more fully in a very beautifully visualized way, so that we can make better decisions, so that we can continue to also be good stewards of our donors' dollars and our donors' support. Before I wrap up, I want to just zoom in right here, and we may come back to this at some point when we get to the Q&A session. This is the 7 I have coming up over the next 2 or 3 years. Again, thank you everyone that is a part of the visualization team, Viz for Social Good, and all the volunteers that put in the time to prepare incredible visualizations. Look forward to seeing some of these presentations here momentarily. And I want to give a quick introduction to, at least I know a few of the folks that are on this call from the Vera Aqua Vera Vita team. I want to give an introduction to Sharon Dunton, Jeff Niemeyer, Jeff Niemeyer, I should say, who are both board of directors members for our organization. And hopefully you'll have a chance to meet them a little bit more during the Q&A session. And then I also want to give a quick introduction to a couple of our volunteers and interns that are on this call, Megan Johnson and Nanad Gokale, as well as, I believe my wife is actually on the call. She's our director of finance. And so very happy to have all of them here. And many more of our team are just so grateful for the work that you guys have done for us. So thank you all. Again, together we can give true water, true life.
Thanks, Jacob. That was very, very inspiring. And thank you again for, partnering with us and opening up your data and spending the time. I think it goes both ways. So over to our presentations. Let's start with Claudia first. So if you want to share your screen and take it away, Claudia.
Thank you so much.
And do you need timekeeping?
Yes, that would be helpful. Perfect.
3 minutes, yeah? 3 minutes?
All right, three-ish, and then it's just time for questions.
Cool, all right.
Are you able to see my presentation now? Is it clear enough?
Yes.
Yes, it looks good.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. So let me introduce myself first. So my name is Claudia. I'm originally from Poland, but now I'm living in Budapest, Hungary. So it's now almost 11 p.m. here. It's my first time here, so please bear with me, my stress and my not always on spot pronunciation. For the last almost 6 years, I've been working in the humanitarian sector, and for the last 3.5, I'm dealing with information management at International Society, Red Cross, Red Crescent Society Federation. So that's why this cause was especially close to my heart, and that's why I stated this even in my tweets, saying that this is something that I really wanted to do. And the visualization I would like to present, it actually has its roots in my personal and professional experience. And I will also reiterate some things that Jacob already mentioned. So when almost 6 years ago, I started working in the humanitarian sector, I was deployed to Mogadishu, Somalia. And that's when I started implementing WASH-related projects. And I was just trying to put myself again in those shoes, like thinking what I needed that time and at that moment. Because obviously non-governmental organizations or charity organizations oftentimes struggle with getting new donors, whether these are individual donors or institutional donors. So I was thinking what I needed at the time. And especially what was already said, for many people, especially potential individual donors, certain concepts like limited water access or sanitation access, water contamination, cholera outbreaks, these are very abstract concepts. So I decided that if I want to convey my message, I need to do it in a simple way. So my main idea for this visualization was to create something quite simple that basically could become a skeleton or either a one-pager or a presentation, something that you can adjust according to your needs. Because another thing that we're struggling with was obviously time constraint and resource constraint and limitations. So we don't have time to produce and reproduce different stories or products all over again. So that's why I decided to maybe not to go that deep into the analytical aspects, but rather create something more flexible. So for me, what was important here to actually have four main parts. So the first one would be who we are as the organization, then where we are, so where do we operate as the organization, then what we do, because we obviously need to highlight this, and then what other people can do to actually support our case. So now to refer to my visualization, so to answer the who we are, I basically decided to go with a simple visual identity. So we have the logo and we have the motto that Vera Aqua live and operate by. Obviously, if you present it to someone, let's say your potential donors, you would just go deeper into all the details regarding the organization itself. But that was just the opening. And then where we operate as an organization. So here we are mentioning Peru, but I didn't only want to say, hey, this is Peru, this is where we are, this is the map. I already wanted to highlight the issue, so the water constraint limitation access. So that's why I decided to go with the waffle chart here, and obviously use the water drop to make this connection between the issue we deal with. And this is something that I guess people right away would think of. So it's blue, it's kind of related to water. So this should work. And the empty water drops are to present basically the vacuum that we need to fill. We need to address this issue to make sure that basically the water flows all over. Then the third part, it also kind of corresponds with where we are, because I also wanted to show it on a map, highlighting both the country, but also the particular spots of where the action is being implemented. So each spot is obviously one implementation site, and it's interactive. Please bear with the fact that Tableau Public is down, so I just didn't want to take the risk. So I'm using the static version of the visualization, but I believe once the Tableau is back, you can also check the interactive one. But basically clicking on each of the spots,
Claudia,
you will...
I have the interactive one open if you want me to screen share for you.
I mean, I also have the...
Sorry, we're about done with time. Sorry, I'm just keeping track on maybe 10 seconds, Claudia. Sorry.
Okay, yeah, so I will just go with this. I'm almost done. Is that okay?
Yeah. Good.
Okay,
Few seconds left.
Yeah. So this would be the interactive version of the map. So basically when you click on the implementation side, you will see the tooltip. So you can both extract the information about the community needs or community profile, and then also the findings from the assessment. So I believe you can also use this for both individual donors and institutional donors, depending on the needs. And then the last part, obviously, is just to mention what people can do to support the case. Of course, it's not only about money, but also about spreading awareness and just checking what the organization do, how people can support it in any other way. So these are the main 4 components that I wanted to highlight. And again, I just wanted to make it quite flexible and very simple. Thank you.
Thank you, Claudia. That was great. All right, on to our next presentation, Chandler New.
Oh, sorry, time flies. 3 minutes is very quick. I know.
All right, can everybody hear me?
Yep, take it away.
Awesome. So my name is Chandler. I'm from Savannah, Georgia. I am a student of Dr. Kevin Elder, who's actually on the Zoom call with us at Georgia College, which is in Milledgeville, Georgia, which is just a little southeast of Atlanta. Most of you guys are probably a little more familiar with Atlanta, so you can kind of piece it on a map. For me, this, I'm kind of new to the Viz for Social Good and just really getting into the data analytics myself. So it was very beneficial for me to work on a project like this. I feel that it has definitely opened me up to a lot of the more organizations that do this sort of stuff that I was unfamiliar with before. So, here's my Viz here, and Tableau Public is actually working for me, thank goodness. So that kind of helps. While there was a lot of more direct data for this, I kind of wanted to keep it a little more visual as well by putting the couple screenshots of the organization and kind of where on the map Peru is for some people who might be a little more unfamiliar with, the geographics of Peru. I threw also some factual data in there just because I feel like for me personally, that helps kind of portray what Aqua Vita is doing a little more and kind of for them to understand, how serious this actually is. Without that, I feel like people might just read over it and, not think as much of it. So I think that the factual information is definitely helpful for me. And I think it could be helpful for others as well. I also included the organization website so that if people wanted to visit that, they were there to see it, and as well as their mission down below, which really sets what Aqua Vita is doing. It allows for people to really get a better understanding of what they're doing to help and how they can be a part of that process as well. So my statement here is a little shorter, but this is my visualization, and I'm happy to have had this opportunity. It's definitely something I'll take forward with me and continue looking into organizations like this and working on more projects like this to share with others that may not have the access to hear or see about it. So thank you guys.
That was great, Chandler. Jacob, do you have any questions for either of the presenters?
Yes, and I also want to.
You're breaking up a little bit there.
That's okay. You've been. Oh, am I?
Yeah.
Sorry about that. Well, I'll
yeah,
try
it's
my
hard to
best
understand you.
Okay. Don't know what's going on there. Anyways, I want to just open up the floor to my team here on the call to see if they have any questions.
I'm for Chandler. Why do you feel this factual data would attract someone to look further into what Aqua Vita is doing by, giving all that data? I'm just curious.
Yes, ma'am. Well, for me, when I kind of read more of the facts down, to the seriousness of the problem, it helped me really understand better the seriousness of what is going on and what can be done to help, fix this issue. And I think that if I kind of read it that way, I know others will as well. It'll help them see how it is, and that's kind of why I put that in there.
Okay, any other questions? Then we can move on to our next presenter. Adrian, over to you.
Actually, Chandler, I have one quick question.
Yes, sir.
Is there any way that this chart that you put in here that you can scroll over and scroll up down? I'm looking at it on Tableau. Is there any way to put that in a form that is a little more digestible? I like the direction that it's going, but to put that in like a slightly more digestible format, because that would certainly be something that would be extra beneficial for us, I feel like, as an organization.
Right, I completely agree. Definitely something that is doable and doable for me to do. I could have probably spent a little more time on it. It was a homework assignment, but for me, I felt that, especially compared to a lot of other of my classmates, I took a little more time into doing it. But with even more time, I could definitely, go more in depth with it and do something more with it.
Cool. I would love to maybe talk with you a little bit more about this offline.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you. Adrian, over to you.
Yeah, all right. Let's continue. I'm just trying to, where's my button? Okay. So basically, my name is Adrian Zinove. So I'm from Toronto, Canada. I'm kind of trying to think that I'm kind of like usual suspect at Race for Social Good. Basically, I think like when everyone saw the initial data, that Excel file with a bunch of text and just a few columns with data, everyone's like, oh, okay, what kind of visual we can do here? And after that, I was like, okay, let's try to do something that's a good challenge, And basically what I did is just like, okay, so these guys have some data, they have some metrics, they're trying to measuring their success for the projects for different locations. So basically what I did, I just tried to make sure that I have everything in one chart, and you can and you have all the metrics and all the locations. So basically right now, if you're looking at the project success, so you're going to see that you have like 70% of all the respondents. And when you hover on this chart, yeah, you can see to where it leads. So basically you have the metrics here, subcategories, categories, and so on. So if you're, for example, like hover on the willingness to give money, so you can see that this is going to other two metrics like general population money and community organization and so on and so on. Yeah. So and as you can see, it's having its own ratings. So basically, this is kind of weighted ratings. I think it's something like it's like cumulative rating for the rest of it. So it's working vice versa. If you're selecting one of the metrics, you can see to which category, subcategory is going to, and you can see where it's going to the project success or the project impact. So what else? It's I mean, because you're looking at the general level, so you can see the entire graph. If you're switching to some other, oh, I forgot to turn on the animation. So on the online version, you have the one that's having like more animated. Also here you can change even like the graph. So I mean, if you like to have different lines, you can check by switching these ones. So yeah, so basically the idea was that you have different location and you're measuring different projects. And even like for this one where you have like less information, you have still a chart. Yeah. But I would just let you just go through it and just try to.
Just on time, Adrian.
Yeah,
Amazing.
that's it. Yeah, I'm done. Yeah.
Was that your bell there, Frederick?
So I wasn't meant to unmute
Oh,
myself.
just in time.
Oh, okay. Okay, and Jacob, I think in the interest of time, maybe we could have some of the questions at the end, if that's okay.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So Josephine, over to you. And thank you very much, Adrian.
Oh, thank you guys. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with the comment there. The flow in Adrian's is very, very interactive. Let's see if this works correctly. Are you guys seeing a Google Slides? Wonderful. And if I switch over to this window, do you see a donate, the Vera Aqua, Vera Vita? Yes.
Terrific. Okay. So Frederick, if you would give me a 30-second warning, I would love that. Thank you for timing us.
Sure.
I made my, this is my first viz for Social Good. I was really excited to see that it was a clean water. And being a Christian myself, I actually curated a museum exhibit a few years ago for Water For, which is another organization that works in Africa on clean water. And we thought about the biblical implications of water physically and spiritually. So this is exciting to me on multiple levels. You guys gave us just this woof data set. So spent, the first week or two getting to know it, and really appreciate that Jacob and Megan were very responsive in Slack. I think stakeholders who will answer questions make it so much easier. So between the questions they answered in the data sets and looking at their website where they have things like the impact of gifts at different amounts and what that gift does, what I came up with after looking through the data was wanting to show time, money, and people in some fashion that was very digestible, partly because I have a problem with playing Candy Crush. And when I play too much of it, I realize that I will never spend $1 or $2 to buy one of their booster packs, but I will spend dozens of hours playing the game to earn that same number of boosters, and just thinking about how time and money translate as resources. Because there is data on how the water crisis affects people's time resources in Peru, I thought we as donors could think what that meant in terms of our money. So initially, my Google Slides can just, if you guys want it, it's yours. The first slide has sort of a note about the different pieces. And then there are a few versions. The first version was designed just for static on-screen sharing. And after getting feedback from my family and some people at Storytelling with Data, I decided both to make a version that could print more cleanly, and then one that is animated because it allows the story to unfold more comprehensively. So with your permission, Frederick, if I still have a minute and a half left, I will run through this story very quickly.
Sounds good.
Awesome. So this is the impact of my $50 or your $50. Time is precious. When you give $50 for Vera Aqua, Vera Vita to build clean water systems, you help one person in Peru to save over 12 hours every month. How much does $50 cost in American work hours? If you make minimum wage, it's about 7 hours. If you make median US income, about $65,000 a year, it drops to less than 2 hours. Either way, clean water makes your gift grow. Next month, the same person in Peru will save another 12 hours. And again, the month after that. By the end of 1 year, your $50 has turned from a seed into a whole crop of time saved. This picture shows the impact of a one-time gift. What happens when you give $50 more than once? With the Ripple program, each month you help another person in Peru to save 150 hours each and every year. That's a lot of time that they can invest in farming or school or family. And long after you stop giving, they will still get this benefit every day, because clean water is a gift that keeps on giving. That's it for the presentation. If it's helpful, the speaker notes and the slides sort of footnote how the data is calculated, where the US income numbers came from. I'm happy to take questions or pass on the baton.
Thank you so much. That was great, and well done with the slides and the presentation. Wonderful. Okay, let's move on to our next. I guess we have a set of presenters.
Awesome.
Tomo and Isaac, over to you.
Yeah, I'm gonna turn on our video.
Okay.
Don't know if, so I forgot to connect it to my phone. So I don't know if you can see us, but
You can see you.
Not yet.
okay, perfect. So yeah, I'm Tomo, and I have my partner here, Isaac, and we worked on this together. We both love data, both work in data analytics. It's our first time working on a project for Viz for Social Good, but we're really thankful for this opportunity that we have to learn about this global water crisis and how Vera Aqua, Vera Vita is working to address these needs in the world. So we kind of started out really learning about the global water crisis in general. And I think what was we thought was important is probably to appeal to the general public and how we can achieve that. Because probably like ourselves, there are a lot of people who are just unaware of what global water crisis is about in detail. So we started formulating a story to appeal to those people who might not know about what's happening. So I'm going to turn it over to Isaac to run through kind of how we designed this and yeah.
Cool. Thanks, Tomo, and thanks everybody for listening to us. And so basically our visualization here, we start by kind of giving the high level metrics related to the global water crisis, really tying it in with Vera Aqua, Vera Vita, and their mission to bring true water, true life. And we wanted to kind of connect the WASH data to the end user, whether it's an organization or an individual who's interested in giving money and helping rural communities. And so basically, we have this interactive dashboard. If it would help if I don't zoom on it. But yeah, so basically what this does here is we can just drill into the rural and urban communities and kind of compare it to our country. And for our case, it's the United States, and just really drive home kind of what these metrics relate to the water in these regions. And then we move into the Piura region of Peru, where we have our 7 communities that Vera Aqua, Vera Vita is connected with and working to help. And we describe how these communities are impacted by the water crisis. When we were looking at the survey data from Vera Aqua, Vera Vita, we were really struck by the metrics of population affected by illness and death related to water quality. And we really thought that this kind of visual drives home and really gives a personal example of the impact on these communities. And then finally, up to 15 school hours are lost per week due to the water-related illness. And we really wanted to highlight that, the impact on time and the fact that individuals in these communities don't have local access to operational healthcare facilities. So we drive it home. Now that we've connected, we want to drive home that a donation, no matter how small, will impact people for generations to come. And we have an interactive slider so that you can see how far your particular donation may go. And we provide a link to the Vera Aqua, Vera Vita site because we want connection, not just the donation. So thank you. I think we went a little over, and I really appreciate you guys taking the time here. And turn it over.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. That was really great. And I think it's the first time we've had 2 presenters together. So first time for everything. So thank you, Tomo and Isaac. On to our next presenter, Chris, over to you.
My turn? Okay, awesome. Okay, so I'm going to bring up my dashboard now that Tableau Public is working again. Just to introduce myself, I'm Chris. I'm a business intelligence analyst down in Austin, Texas, so not too far from Dallas. Let's see, should be, here we go. Okay, can you see my dashboard now?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. So, okay, we'll move that over there. Yeah. Okay, so this is my dashboard for this project for potential missionary projects for the Piura region of Peru for Vera Aqua, Vera Vita. So what I wanted to do with my dashboard was, take all that survey information that was opened up to all of us, and we started out with, a lot of text and a lot of numbers, and try and kind of summarize it in a more visual way to inform the people in Vera, Aqua, Vera, Vita about the differences between the 7 different locations for certain metrics in this region, and inform actions that could be taken in one location versus another, as that's part of my day job. So I just wanted to apply that to this project. So you can see here in my dashboard, we start out with background information in the mission statement of Vera, Aqua, Vera, Vita. And here in the main part of my dashboard, I have just a simple bar chart of the 7 different locations and a selected group of metrics, all numerical metrics. I just chose ones that kind of showed similarities or big differences between the 7 different locations, just as basically like a proof of concept that could easily be switched out for other types of information. But for example, for some information like biological MCLs or maximum containment level, they're all kind of similar for the 7 different locations. All of them are too high, of course, but in both source and tap, nothing's really different between the different locations. But if I were to say look at a different project looking at that metric, such as number of days per week that water demand is met, it's only 5 out of 7 days in the Totoro Bachao region. So this location seems to need the most assistance for this project. And the same can be said for in terms of water and wastewater environmental health risk. It's highest in this location as well. Or percent of water from primary source, because that's the lowest also in this location. So just wanted to communicate that simply with a bar chart because, pretty low number of locations, easy to compare using that chart type. And along the bottom of my visualization are just, some summary cards of some more interesting information that I found and I just wanted to emphasize on. Such as reliability of primary water source. Only 1 location out of 7 is on the surveys said that it was reliable. I just want to emphasize that and show that in a really simple way here. Likewise, for presence of a local operational healthcare facility, there are it's reported as no or absent in every single location. So just something to point out for that project as well. Project cost per location, just to show a different project cost. And Jacob, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the project costs are dependent on number of people in each location. So tired usually means that the population is a bit higher as well.
Yeah, number of people is one of the main drivers.
Okay. Yeah, it's going to probably swap this out for population as well. Okay, just for more information. And then the last part of my dashboard, just along the left-hand side is just more contextual information, such as geographically, where is the region? It's in the northwest corner of Peru. And also, just as a reminder, these metrics that I show, you want the numbers go up and down. But in the end, this is who you're helping. You're helping the people in the Piura region of Peru. And that's just, I like to, for these visual social good projects, I always like to keep a reminder of that and the dashboards and visualizations I create for these projects. Thank you.
Awesome.
Awesome. That was great. Thank you so much, Chris. Okay, Emma, your turn.
Hello. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yep.
Cool. All right. And if I full screen this, can we still hear and see?
Yeah, we're good.
Perfect.
Okay, so a little bit about me to start off. I'm a graphic design student in New York. I'm in my senior year now, which is crazy. I first got started with data viz about a year ago in Josh Kornblatt's class, who's actually on this call. So shout out to Josh for introducing me to data viz and also to viz for social good in general. Just to make this quick here, I really wanted to show this survey data in a very narrative way because the audience is quite broad. It's sort of including the general public and also potential funders. I wanted to make sure people understand really the whole of this water crisis globally and also who it's affecting. So I start off with a picture up here and this really shocking statistic at the top just to grab attention. On the left here, I have a little blurb about the water crisis globally, and then it gets into the main part of the viz, which is about Piora and the 7 communities there. So it's a little hard to see on the static version. I'll switch to the interactive in a bit. But I have a mark on here that corresponds to the population, just the size of it, and then the color, the percent of the population with a water-related illness. I also have a little map here just to contextualize where Peru is. And then on the right, as you click on each of these marks, this will update this information here. So this is just a little story sort of about each community in general. It's a little biography at the top. Similar to Chris, I found it really shocking that there are no operational healthcare facilities and no toilets in every single one of them. So I wanted to make sure that was front and center. Then I have a bar chart of just how many people, or the percent of the population with water-related illnesses, the percent who have died from those illnesses. And again, just making sure to pick out the most sort of relatable survey questions to someone who, clean water is not an issue for them. Maybe by showing, the number of hours of work and school loss each week would become more accessible. So I have that on the bottom here. Each community is sort of highlighted as you click on it. And then on the bottom left, I have a bit more information about each community's drinking water source, if it's reliable or unreliable. And then the plans that Vera, Aqua, Vera, Vita has for, like in this case, a water treatment facility, and then the date and the cost. And then the very bottom left, I just have the call to action there with a link to learn more about how you can help. And I'll just switch to Tableau if I can. Maybe not. Just to show the interactivity of these marks because it's a little hard to see. That's what it looks like when it's not selected. And you can select every one of those. That's about it for me.
Wow, that was awesome, Emma. Definitely, I think I saw someone in the chat box saying you can definitely tell you're a graphic design student. Very well done. It's amazing. Yeah, it's nice to see graphic design and data viz coming together. Okay, and over to you, Jill.
All right. Hello, everyone. Sorry for the background noise. My puppy is tearing apart some cardboard. So I took a little bit of a different approach with this viz. So I saw, I was a little late to the party this time, so this isn't my first viz, but the first one that I get to present, and saw that there were a lot of awesome vizes already created. And so I wanted to narrow the scope a little bit to kind of look at the more demographic types of comparisons between each of the communities. And so in the upper left-hand corner of the viz is kind of the legend of what each of these kind of small multiples represent. So we have the community name kind of in the spigot, as well as each of the metrics that are represented. So each water drop means something, and each of the O's and X's also represent the biological and inorganic components. And so what this viz shows is across each of the communities, kind of the relative levels of, for example, the reliability of water access, the electricity access, and then in the droplets that are on the kind of lower portion that are a little kind of yucky colored, those are the ones that you want to be smaller. So the coloring was intentional there. And so the green are the hours lost for water retrieval, and that's both work plus school. I didn't have enough space to do drops for all of the things, so combined those, and then also water-related illness. So again, they're all relative based on the other communities. And I did notice in the viz that I submitted, I had a typo, so I'll be sure to submit a new one with the corrected information at the top about how to interpret it.
Thanks so much, Jill. I love the visual. Just reminds me of filling up water balloons from a tap. Excellent. Okay, so our last presenter, Frederick, and I know we're running short of time. He was going to showcase some vizes from volunteers who could not make it, but I think Fred, I'll hand it over to you, and you can decide just how many you want to run through.
Sure. Good morning, everyone. I'm probably the only one from the southern hemisphere, so I'm calling from Australia. It's 8:30 here. Yes, I think it's amazing to see how many great visits you guys come up with. We don't have time to present them all, but the good news is we'll put them on our Vis tracker, and I'll put the link on Slack so you can have a quick look. In a couple of minutes I've got, I thought I'd just showcase one that really struck me from Inbal from Israel. So she's basically developed, so that's, I hope you can see the screen. And again, I've got my own tracker, sorry.
Time's up.
So she's actually developed a coloring book, which I thought was quite amazing. So there's a bit of a description and a very powerful image at the top. But as you zoom in, so she's using a Miro, which is a collaborating kind of platform. So I think it's probably done in graphic design software potentially, but every villages have a different visual, a different story, and the detail. I think it's a group project, and I think she was quite enthusiastic to come up with those visuals. And I don't have too much time to basically go through the whole Viz, but I suggest go on Slack, find the link and have a bit of a time to explore. The designs are beautiful, the stories are beautiful, and as you can see, they spend a lot of time with even nice little graphics with nice little story points, basically to tell stories. So I believe they have a lot of ideas. In Valve, we mentioned that they wanted to develop that as a mobile version as well, and the idea is for maybe students to go to school and print them, organize events, organize fundraising events. So I thought that project was quite amazing, really. So 2 minutes of my time doesn't really pay too much justice. So have a bit of a look and then explore. I think that's quite amazing what she came up with. The second project I wanted to quickly showcase, if I get the name correct, so it's a volunteer from India called Ibranav Kumar. I quite like this one. Obviously, he couldn't make it today, but same thing. He started with a top level statement, like big statement at the top to paint the picture and give some context. And I really love the way he was digging and expanding in the data about the type of drinking waters services and levels in Peru, and then expanded on the different regions. So I thought that those charts were quite easy to read and quite powerful. And some more regions. So I think start from the top and then dive into the Pura region and basically give some more insights and started with a big statement at the bottom. So I thought this one was quite interesting viz as well. I don't know what is used. It didn't use Tableau, it used a different platform, which I think was quite good. This one, another one pager from Jaturi, sorry if I get the pronunciation wrong, from the USA, Atlanta. I like this one because it fits on one pager, so I think it's quite easy. It would be easy to print. The whole visual is basically centered on the map, as you can see. A lot of statement to basically some context, even some donations. What's useful with that viz is you can, if Tableau Public works, you might just refresh me. There's a filter that doesn't work now, so I can't show it to you, unfortunately, but you get the idea. The filter basically allows to dive and dice the data and then go even further. So I think that's a nice data viz as well. So that's it. It's probably working now. You can filter on the locations and you get more insights and nice tooltip as well based on that location. So I thought those were quite good data viz. I don't know if I got. I think that's probably it. Vanita, there's a few more data viz that people have submitted, and we put them on the tracker, and you can have a look at them when you got time.
Okay, great, thank you. And I also just wanted to thank the team. Viz for Social Good is entirely run by volunteers, so I wanted to give a shout out to Keith. You want to just wave, Frederick, and Rachel also, who helped organize the event. Great. Thanks team. Okay, so now we are on to, so Jacob, I know you had some questions as well and announcement of the winners. So I'll leave it to you to figure out how much time you want to spend on both.
Yeah, So first and foremost, the presentations really illuminated and brought a new light to some of the visualizations that I hadn't kind of seen before, hadn't noticed before, didn't realize before. And so that was really cool. Thank you for everyone that presented. And thank you, Frederick, for presenting the last few there that were not even your visualizations, just stepping up there big time. Also, just in general, I was really impressed by the creativity and the uniqueness and the variance across all of these visualizations. And that actually brings me to a couple of questions. One of them is actually a question for Josephine. In her visualization, she did that in PowerPoint. I thought it was simple, but just the story that she told was so compelling. And that's the kind of stories that we want to be able to tell ourselves. So when we first saw your visualization, I just couldn't really picture like the narrative with the flow of the clicking on everything, and I just didn't really see it all coming together. But then when you presented it, it was impressive. So I wanted to ask you simply, is there anything in addition to what you shared with us that we would benefit from knowing about how you prepared that? If someone's like, oh, how did you come up with these numbers? How did you come up with those numbers? That would be really great.
Is it all right if I share my screen to give like a 30-second answer?
Sure.
Nobody's saying no. And your question is, how would you answer questions about this, Viz, if somebody else asked? Is that your question?
Yes.
Okay, so if you want this, Viz, it's yours. You would look in the speaker notes, and if you can see the screen, like on this slide, here are the links for where the income.
I didn't see the sources. I didn't see that note, the source notes. Okay.
Yeah. Oh no. Yeah,
Okay.
I know, because it's layered. You're looking at 18 or 20 submissions, and everything has so much to look at. So yes. So the speaker notes explain exactly where the numbers came from, and I made sure that the icon of the hourglass is something that I just hand sketched. So there are no rights issues to it. Like you can have it, if that makes sense.
Awesome.
So yeah, so all the credits are and the photos I took from a video on your website, they might not be the best lit ones. Oh, I do want to point out, your video said that women and children particularly lose time going to fetch water. So most of the images are children or women, and they're placed on the timeline sort of relative to their age, roughly. Like the children are further left, the older people are further right. And all the faces can be replaced with better lit photos if you want. Did that answer your question?
Yes, that did. Thank you. That was such a cool presentation. You want to come and give that pitch to potential donors for us?
I basically figure you could run the slideshow yourselves. Like with the, all you have to do is click in the script. Like the slide number 2 has the script and when you should click.
Yeah, that's great. That was awesome.
You guys should catch up offline as well.
Yeah, sorry, I don't want to take up everybody else's time.
Yeah, I had one more question. It's actually not a question, it's a comment, and I can't remember whose slide it was, but somebody had shown like a kilometer, Las Mercedes kilometer 12 and Las Mercedes kilometer 13. I think it's Adrian.
Yeah.
So just as a total taking up ownership of a mistake here, in the original data set that we provided, there was in a fill down error, there was a Las Mercedes kilometer 12 and kilometer 13 were added. It was actually all supposed to be Las Mercedes kilometer 11. So that's why there's not very much data.
Okay.
For those two communities, because they're not actually. So I really like that one.
I can update it.
When I first, yeah, that would be great.
It's just replacing one source is like 1 minute.
Yeah. The only question that I had on that one, and this is my last question, because all the other ones I've pretty much understood, especially after the presentations, is with this one specifically, how did you come up with the ability to like connect them in the way that you did, and why did you present it that way? What was your main driver behind that? Just curious.
Oh, so basically, because I've seen a bunch of metrics, and you kind of want to see, okay, so we want to see, okay, what subcategory is going to what category? It's this project success, or this is a project impact, how many people answered, and so on. So basically, you want to track, I mean, what you're doing good, what you're doing bad, and also like you want to see the specifics of the country, because I mean, everyone understands this in a different way, and they're answering in a different way. So that's why it's important to see everything in one capture.
Yeah.
But I mean, but technically how I did it, just, I mean, because I mean, people from the Tableau world understand how this is. It's
that
just
makes so much
multiplying.
sense. When
Yeah,
we put a lot of lines and
I'm just
stuff going on here, but then when I realized like we can click on stuff and like isolate and show the path of how it's all connected, I thought that was a really cool addition.
So this was just joining with another data that's containing 100 rows of data, and that in the end it give you like 100 times more of your data. So it is just, I'm just multiplying the data in order to have every point of that line. Yeah.
The size of the lines is dependent on the rating, right? The way I understood it, or the score that's assigned.
On the size, number of respondents. So it's basically, yeah, it's basically how many people responded, So if it's thicker, it means that as more people responded. I can send you the whole package with the files, no worries. So you can have a look on how is this even constructed. Because if you download it from the Tableau public, you're not going to be seeing like the too much. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No worries. Yeah. I can send to Vita, and she will
for
just.
our team intern.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Do we do drum rolls now?
So I don't know if I want to announce these, Vanita. I don't know if I'm like worthy to announce. I don't want to create any enemies either and make people feel like, oh, why wasn't mine in the top list? I don't know. That's my own personal qualm with making the announcement. But I will do it if you want me to.
Yes, please. It's always better coming from, well, you can delegate to Megan
Okay.
if you want, but
I don't want to put her on the spot. I'll take the onus here. So our top five. What we did originally when we got the preliminary list prior to getting, I think it was an additional 3 vises. We went through them one by one, Megan and I, and really looked at them and really kind of looked at them from 2 different lenses. One, how can we use this internally? And then secondarily, how can we use this externally to tell our story to potential donors and supporters outside of our organization? And it was really a combination of those 2 that led us to our top 5. And a number of them we also wanted to see presented. And actually, Josephine, yours was one of the ones that we really wanted to see presented. It completely changes the way the graphic and the visualization is seen. And so it was really cool to see that. And in fact, if we had seen that prior to putting our top 5, yours probably would have been in there. But as of right now, our top 5 is the one from Tomo Tamura and Isaac Pato. That's our number 1. Just how it walked people through. Yeah.
great. The power couple.
It was awesome. It just walks people through like so simply the process of how to tell our story, and then you get to see like at a high level the global water crisis, and at the very bottom you can get to see the impact of $1, of a $50 gift, of a $300 gift, of a $3,000 gift. And I thought that was a really, really neat way to tell a story. For us, adding that type of visualization to our website will add, we're hoping, great value to people that come and visit our website, and hopefully lead to more donations. So that was for us why that was our number 1. The number 2 was Emma Noyes.
Great work, Emma.
Liked the Oh, are we going to do pause again? Maybe we should hold our applause until the end. I had no idea that Emma was a graphic design student, but it makes so much sense after seeing her visualization because it's very eye-catching and it's simple yet communicative, and it's interactive in a way that it has both benefit for us internally in how we make decisions and how we're analyzing and looking at our data, but also externally story to a larger audience, whether that be at a presentation or maybe even some form or fashion on our website. So it's really cool. The next one, and this is frankly the most unique one of them all, in my humble opinion. Pronounce your last name, sorry about that. Presented from let's see, Inbal Reef from Israel, the storybook, the color book, I should say. It was just such a cool idea. And it's actually information with the visualization project as it was published on the website, This for Social Goods website. But we actually have plans to develop a school and young adult youth program to engage the youth and the young adults with our mission. And it's just so cool that there's this really neat coloring book that was developed telling the story of the 7 communities that we're going to serve. That is something in a very, very interactive and digestive way for the for a youth, a young child to experience the importance of why we do what we do. So that was really cool. Thank you so much, Inbal, for that unique visualization. And those are our top 3. And then our number 4 and 5, I would just consider them honorable mentions. Actually, I'm going to throw a 6th one in there. Is the 6th one as our top. But the 2 other honorable mentions are from Abhinav Kumar from New Delhi, India, and we chose that one because it was simple yet told our story, and it's something we can use internally and externally very well. It was also something that had really great graphic visualizations with charts and tables. Particularly the charts were very compelling, and he really expanded upon not just looking at the Piura region, but also every region actually across the country of Peru, which is really cool to see where there's the greatest need in those regions. And then finally, the one from Jagruti Mothukuri from, I'm gonna butcher the place, but Atlanta, actually. I thought it was somewhere else. But from Atlanta, and I don't know if we got this one presented. I don't believe we did, but we really liked the simplicity of, well, hold on, I'm trying to pull it up. Yeah, we did get this one presented. Frederick did present this one at the very end. It's the one with the kind of the single pager, the community that's being seen, and the data that's being seen by that community, and changes all the visualizations kind of simultaneously in a really kind of fitting, viewable single pager, which is something that externally we can really use to tell our story to potential donors, supporters, and volunteers. So those are our top 6 now that we've added Josephine's in there, I would say. And thank you, everyone. All of them were really, really awesome. And it was hard to pick a top 6, I guess, now. And we're just we're very blessed to have received so many incredible submissions. And thank you for Viz for Social Good and all that you guys do to help make the world a better place, and telling stories through data that really impact both the organizations like ours that you're serving, but more importantly, the people that our organizations are serving. So it's together we are making this world a better place, and together we're giving clean water to communities in need in Peru, and we're going to be able to do that even more effectively, God willing, with the help that we now have from these awesome visualizations. Thank you so much.
Great. Now we can applaud. Thank you. Congrats to all the winners and to all the volunteers who worked on this. Wow, excellent. And Keith, I'm going to turn it over to you for closing comments.
Yeah, thanks everyone for joining. We really appreciate the time that you put in for this. We usually take a group photo before we wrap up. So if you don't have your camera on and you have a chance to turn it on, I'll just take a quick screenshot of all of us. So put on your best smile. I'll take the shot in 3, in 2, in 1. And we usually do a second one that has us doing a V for Viz Social Good. So if you guys all want to put up a V, we'll take another screenshot of everyone. Thank you so much for participating. We totally appreciate your time and effort here. And just wanted to briefly announce that you're good. You go put your V's down. I got the screenshot. Just wanted to quickly announce that we'll have another project live in April. So on April 11th, it's about 2.5 weeks from now, we're partnering with another organization that's working to combat female genital mutilation in Tanzania. They have a really interesting approach where they actually do that by providing better maps of rural areas so that volunteers can get to girls who are at risk. So we'd love to have all of you participate again. Really appreciated the stuff that you brought today. Thank you for taking the time for this. Thank you for participating, and we hope to see many of you back here for our next project in April. I think that's all. Benita, anything else that you wanted to add before we wrap up?
That's it. Have
All
a
right.
good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Good night. All right.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Everyone. Ciao, ciao.